Y'all are obsessed with this racket for whatever reason. I don't understand why y'all love this racket so much. Or I don't even know if it's love, or I don't know why y'all keep asking about it. Like, why is it so famous here? So I got the axforce Cannon, and during my time like looking at the Li-Ning catalog, I also found the Cannon Pro. So for today's video and today's review, we'll be talking about, just the axforce Cannon, but do expect the Cannon Pro to be coming soon as well. So without further ado, let's talk about this racket. So the axforce Cannon Pro, or sorry, the axforce Cannon is this like white and blue and pink color racket. It's like, I would consider a budget smashing racket, basically. Comes with a 7mm shaft. I'm just reading stuff off of here. There's not really that much tech to go over. This is a 5U racket. It is going to be slightly head heavy or head heavy. I'm not really sure about the balance point, sonic boom system, whatever that means, right? High carbon, whatever that means, right? This is a very simple racket to understand. I mean, like, the flex is not too terribly stiff. This is very much so more for the beginner and intermediate level players. And yeah, it's a simple racket, right? The thing is, I find this to be very overpriced, right? So before we talk about the value aspect, let's talk about the actual performance, right? Of course, in the back, you're going to get, very easy smashing. It's a 5U racket. It's going to be head heavy. It's going to be, medium flex. Let's call it that for the sake of simplicity, right? So the smashes in the back are just going to be just fine. Any big swing actions are going to be fine. So basically, forehand interceptions, mid-court, hard shots that you take above the net, anything that involves power, this is going to deliver. It's going to be very easy to use. Things you would typically expect from a racket of this caliber, right? I find this lackluster in softer shots when it comes to either the drops, when it comes to the flat drives, when it comes to taking shots below the net in the mid-court using this racket, right? I don't know if it's the frame, if it's the shaft. Some part of me doesn't like it in these situations where you need a bit more finesse. And I've used this for a while, right? It's probably been 6 or 7 hours on court with this. So it's not me that hasn't adjusted to this racket. It really is like, I'm looking for, just better response and better feel. Because outside of the big booming smashes, I don't know if booming is right, but outside of the smashes, this does lack a lot of, I guess, response and feel. So for the serves, for the nets, for, even the lifts, sometimes it's hard to tell where the shuttle is going to go because you're not really getting much feedback to work with this racket in particular. And again, that's harsh feedback, but you have to remember this is a budget racket. So you really, I'm not surprised it's like this. I'm just telling you how it is because, this isn't like a high-end leaning racket. This is like 3,000 pesos, I think. So around $50, $55 for the non-Filipino viewers. So we talked about, the back court. We talked about the mid court, above the net and below the net, and we talked about the front court. Who is this racket for? I think this racket is for someone that just wants to hit hard, because in the back you are going to be doing well. The name kind of suggests what this is going to be like. Axforce being, part of the head-heavy lineup, and Cannon kind of, suggesting power. And you are going to get that, right? This is going to be a very easy-to-use racket. You're going to have easy time with your overhead strokes in the backcourt as well as like backhand clears, that kind of thing, right? The issue I have with this racket is not necessarily its performance, but more so its pricing. So again, as I mentioned earlier, this is around 3,000 pesos on Shopee. From what I looked at, right, might be cheaper, might be more expensive, but at that price, you are severely outclassed in both directions. So again, this is a 5U racket. So in the 6U class, you have things like, the Nuclear 72 from 100. Now, granted, this is like 3-4, I think, right? But this is going to feel better. It has a better response. The power output is similar. This handles way better. And for me, it looks nicer as well, right? And this has become like my go-to feeding racket. You can see how dirty my grip is. But this is a 6U, slightly head-heavy racket. Same kind of specs. 7mm shaft. This has a 7mm shaft, flexi shaft. And the balance point is told here is 310 mm. But again, this is 6U. So you have a decent amount of power with this. even though it is a bit lighter. And then on like the 4U side, you have things like the Maxwell Sakiko, which I think is like the best budget 4U heavy rack that I've personally used. And then even in the 5U class, you have things like the Superstar LT from Maxbolt, which is only 2K I think on Shopee, and it's so much better. You know, the shaft has better response. You're gonna get a just better feel and better touch. And again, it's not any harder to use than this would be. So yeah, like, you know, I've said before time and time again, like, if you guys are looking for a new racket and you only have like a budget price, like if you don't have the money to afford the best of the best from Yonex Sling or Victor, don't waste your money paying for the brand name on their budget stuff, right? Look elsewhere, right? So look at Maxbolt, look at 100, look at Apex, right? Look at OG Kills, right? Like, again, I'll repeat this again. This racket necessarily isn't bad. It's just overpriced by a lot. So yeah, of course I'll be giving this way as well. The mechanics are going to be a little bit different because I want to push for my community on Discord to grow. So obviously follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. Both are at Nigel Delentis. Follow me on YouTube, same thing. And those are some prerequisites. Obviously, like, share, save, you know, comment on this video. But I also want you guys to join the Discord. Join the Discord and like leave a message about what racket you're currently using, why you want the axforce Cannon Pro. Okay, that's it. You guys have any questions about the racket? I'll answer them down below. Just leave your comments down below. But also remember, right? Stay tuned for the axforce Cannon Pro. I believe this is going to be what? A little bit slimmer at 6.8 mm shaft. I believe this is going to be a little bit stiffer as well. And I think it's 4U. Let me check. Yeah, 4U G5. So looks like to be a step up, but again, we'll see if the value and performance are there. All right, guys. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.